Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and esteemed colleagues, good evening. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you all here today. We are gathered to engage in what promises to be a deeply enriching session, one that will explore the profound wisdom and teachings of one of the most influential spiritual leaders of our time. Before we proceed, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker, Acharya Prashant. Acharya Prashant is not just a name, but a movement towards deeper understanding, personal transformation, and global awareness. An alumnus of prestigious institutions like IIT Delhi and IIM Ahmedabad, Acharya Prashant's journey is as remarkable as it is inspiring. His early career saw him serving as a civil services officer, but it is in his role as a spiritual teacher, philosopher, and author that he has truly made his mark on the world. With over 150 books to his name, Acharya Prashant has touched countless lives with his writings on topics such as love, marriage, and parenting. His best selling titles like Karma, Ananda, and Maya are not just books but gateways to deeper understanding. His expertise in Advaita Vedanta philosophy has earned him a massive following with over 50 million subscribers on YouTube, making him the world's most followed spiritual leader. His videos, which have amassed an astounding 2.5 billion views, speak to the universal resonance of his message. But Acharya Prashant is not just a spiritual guide, he is also a passionate advocate for causes that impact our world today. As a staunch supporter of veganism and environmentalism, he has been recognized as the most influential vegan of India by PETA in 2022. His advocacy is not limited to words, it extends into actionable programs and teachings. His highly regarded online courses on Bhagavad Gita and Vedanta have attracted over 30,000 students, further solidifying his role as a beacon of knowledge and change. Without further ado, it is with great respect and admiration that I invite Acharya Prashant and DM Kulkarni sir to felicitate him with the sapling.
First of all, I regret being late for the assembly today. I respect your time. It was an unforeseen kind of thing, 15-20 minutes taken by a particular crossing near Majorda village. It does not happen in Goa. Even with me, it's happening for the first time. But anyway, we'll try to make up for that. Won't we? Good. So let's begin.
I want to ask about the process and what were the things that led you to discover what it is that you want to do in life.
One never discovers as such. That sounds like some kind of endpoint, a full stop. You keep discovering. It's a process, not a particular event. So I'm still discovering. As long as you are not dead, there is a life to live. So you must keep finding out what the whole game is about. And you must never allow yourself to feel too confident that you know it all. So be it at your age or my age, or for somebody who is 70 or 80, it's all much the same. You have to keep asking questions. You have to look at yourself and you have to ask, what is it all about? What am I doing? Who am I here? What is my purpose? What is it giving me? Am I repeating my old actions and decisions in some new form? And if I'm just repeating, will that give me some kind of new results? Am I really sure I know the direction that I'm taking, or am I just following the crowd? These questions must always be alive. The The brain has a tendency to settle down quickly. It does not want to remain in a state of ambiguity. It does not want to feel that the matter, the question is still hanging in balance. So we want to just settle things quickly and say, this is the issue and this is the decision. Don't let that happen. Let things remain open. That is a bit uncomfortable to live with, but being uncomfortable is much better than being deceived. A lot of us who are well settled with their answers in life about academics, about career, about personal things, might be feeling comfortable that the thing is done, dusted, sealed. But what if the answer sheet that you are submitting does not contain the right answers? It's better to stay with the questions for a bit longer, is it not? Than to just write some answer and assure yourself that you have done it, and the examination or assignment and you dispose of the whole thing. That doesn't work in our favor. I'm still discovering. As I speak to somebody like you, as I go through the normal events of daily life, I still want to keep learning. I'm a student, much like you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Similarly, even when I have rendered some kind of response to a question, that does not mean that the matter is settled or the issue is now closed. I'm very prepared and I eagerly welcome any kind of counter questions, even rebuttals. That's fine.
Hello, Acharya Prashant. So I have a follow-up question, which is, so this ability that you spoke of, for somebody to have a question and then to hold on to it, there might be some discomfort, there usually is. But this ability to hold on to the question and to keep seeking for answers, and and to be okay with only getting partial answers or even wrong answers, the ability to keep an open mind, do you believe it is something that is innate in a person, or can it be learned?
So, two things regarding your statement. One, it is not an ability. And two, it is not about looking for answers. Because the moment you say it's an ability, some part of it would be definitely attributable to innate factors. And the moment you say that something is innate, you have gone into genetics straight away. Have you not? The old nature versus nurture thing. So nothing is innate. It's a matter of choice. It's not an ability, it's a decision. You have to decide to be all right with discomfort. It's a decision that you make. It's not that you are born with a certain ability or that you are even taught to have that ability. No. You decide. It's, you could say, a matter of love. I love the truth so much, or I love myself so much, that I cannot allow myself to be settled with something deceptive or half truth. No, that won't do. It's a decision that you actively make for yourself. Over time, making that decision does become easier, because the decision, as you rightly said, involves discomfort. Discomfort a bit of the same type as you experience when you first hit the gym. But over time, gymming not only becomes easier, but probably becomes pleasurable, does it not? You also become more confident of your stand as you start seeing the results, as you start seeing that your approach, your attitude is building you into something formidable, you become more assured of the attitude that you have towards life. You say, fine, I'm all right with ambiguity, I'm all right with uncertainty, and that does not seem to be harming me. So I can proceed on this way with more confidence. So that was the first thing that we said, that it's not an ability, it's a choice. It's a decision that you actively make. It's similar to love. Right? The second thing, it's not really about always looking for answers. It's about staying with the question. These two are different things. Looking for an answer indicates a discomfort with the question. Because what is the answer supposed to do? The answer is supposed to bring depth to the question. No? Once the answer is there, the question can be disposed of, thrown into the waste bin. The question is no more once the answer is there. You have to start loving the questions. And then, slowly, I don't know whether this would make sense right now to some of us, but let this stay with you. As you start feeling more comfortable living with questions themselves, you find that the solution, not the answer, but the solution to the question lies within the question itself. Not that you get an answer. You become so comfortable with the question that the question disappears. You get right to the root of the question because you have not been running away from the question. See, demanding answers. It'll sound strange, but stay with this. Demanding answers, does it not indicate that you are not all right with the question? Questions can be beautiful. They are not always to be returned with answers. Staying with the question, going right till the root of the question, takes you closer to yourself. And you will not go so deeply into the question if you do not like the question itself. Most of us like to have answers. We do not like questions so much, do we? We like to have good answers. We do not care so much for great questions. Have great questions and learn to live with them without bothering whether you have an answer or not. Answers are small things. We said you have to go right to the root of the question. Do you know what lies at the root of the question? Yes, tell me, sir.
I have no idea what lies at the root.
The root is the place the thing comes from, right? By definition. So where does the question come from? Where does the question come from? The root of anything is the place that thing comes from. So what will be at the root of a question? Not too early. Yes, who will be at the root of the question? I've already answered in a way by using who, not what. Huh? Yes, the questioner. You are at the root of all your questions. And if you can probe deeply into your questions, you will come to yourself. You are at the origin of all your questions, just as the dancer is at the origin of the dance. The questioner is at the origin of the question. Doesn't the dance tell something about the dancer? Similarly, the question tells you a lot about yourself. If you want to know about yourself, you'll have to embrace the questions you have in life. You'll have to see where exactly do they spring from. And that is self-knowledge. That is self-knowledge. Now, how will you get to the root of your questions if you swat them away too quickly? Like things undesirable, huh? Like, pestering flies. Oh, they came to you, and what did you do? Like a mosquito buzzing at your ears, what do? Go away. Will you ever know the mosquito? No. The questions are not always as buzzy as the mosquito. Just an example. You getting it? Solutions are great things. In the world of inner questions, it is not really answers that matter so much. It is the question itself that matters. And when you start understanding your questions, one, you start understanding yourself. Secondly, now the question has done its duty, fulfilled its purpose, and the question just disappears. Now the question is no more meaningful. Not that the question has received an answer. The question itself has been understood. So the question is no more meaningful or important to you anymore. So you just let it go. It goes away, it disappears. Is it too abstract? Too abstract? Am I making sense? Or am I nonsensical as always? Yes, follow up.
I kind of get what you're saying, but let me rephrase the question in a more practical view. Right. I know I can sit with the question better than, say, somebody in my family, right? And sometimes it might frustrate me that, in an interaction, it might frustrate me for a while that, that they can't see the question itself for what it is. So what the question I'm asking is there any practical advice you have, to interact with, say, people in your own family? That's it.
In what kind of situation? When they are not ready to see where you're coming from?
Yes, I mean, it can be for something even, very trivial. So I'll just give you a recent example. I joined here recently. I work as a research fellow, and my mother, just in a normal interaction, asked me, like, do you have a lunch timing? Right, fixed time to have lunch. So I found the question very odd. So I asked her, what is a lunch timing? Why does it exist? She used to be a school teacher. She worked in a school. So I pointed out to her, that lunch break happens. It is there for a certain time, so that everybody can be synchronized. The classes get over at a fixed time. The mess or whatever is open at a certain time. So you have to be there for that certain time. So I asked her, what kind of work do you think that I do that I would be required, by the organization to have a fixed lunch period? And she seemed very confused by that. So then I had to explain it further. Right, so just little interactions like this, where basically nobody questions the frame in which they're asking the question. Yeah.
To everybody, their universe is the universe.
Right. Yeah, so I'm asking for practical advice,
What you did was absolutely practical.
Right. So this is an example where I think I handled it okay, but I don't always.
You don't have to handle it. You just have to be spontaneous.
Right. I mean, that's a choice of.
It's a beautiful way, the way you said that, fixed lunch timings must be an organizational construct for a certain purpose.
Yes.
Now, does my life belong to the domain of that purpose? And that would pose something unfamiliar to her. It's something that she might not have thought of before. So it's a great way of interacting and letting the doors be open.
Right. So, okay, there's no general, tips and tricks that you have. Okay, yeah, cool. Thanks.
One just has to ensure that one is not bitter. Because bitterness finds it very easy to creep in these kinds of interactions. You think you know, and you think that the other one does not know. And you also find that the other one is probably not as willing to know. So that lends you a bit bitter or caustic. So one has to ensure that one remains mindful of the point the other is coming from, and this is the kind of conversation you'll always need to have.
Thank you.